What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the opening pair. It is Sports Zone Edition 7, and tonight we are going to break down the quarterfinals of the Champions League, which have just finished up this week. 4 exciting ties played over 2 legs, and we've brought in a bit of help this week to get through it because, as we all know, Kyle is a legendary Chelsea supporter. So I think it was only right that we reached out to a couple of friends of yours, Kyle, to give us a hand tonight, shall we say, if you want to set the scene.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, we've a lot to unpack tonight and in a very, very exciting show. I'm absolutely buzzing for this. Can't wait. All things considered, the results and everything. I'm obviously in good form. But no, as you say, you had the great idea to bring a little bit of help in. So we've reached out to the Blue Wave boys from the UK.
So I think without further ado, we will bring in Claudio and Jae, 2 of the contributors from the Blue Wave channel on the Never a Foul podcast. Jae, Claudio, thanks very much for giving up your time to be here. Much appreciated. How's everything with you guys?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Go on, Claudio.
Yeah, all good, thank you. Just want to say big thanks to both of you for inviting us on. It's a real pleasure to be part of the show. Definitely think we're going to enjoy speaking about the ties which has happened, and obviously the Chelsea boys going through, which is a big positive. But yeah, once again, just want to say a big thank you for inviting us on, and I'm sure it's going to be a great show.
Definitely. Jae, have you anything to add?
Yeah, as well. Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure. First time I've asked on another show before as well. I'm looking forward to the episode. And yeah, it's been a great week of results as well. So yeah, thank you, Keith, and thank you, Kyle, for having us.
No problem at all, guys. We are extremely happy to have you here. So I think, Kyler, without further ado, we might break into these games. So I think probably the best way of going about it is let's leave Chelsea to last. Let's give you guys your fair dues and give you the lion's share, shall we say, of the show. So let's take the left-hand side of the bracket, as I would call it, and let's talk about PSG and Bayern. Finishes 3-3. PSG go through in away goals. And I think for myself, looking at the 180 minutes or so of action, the thing that stood out to me when the final result was decided was I had this kind of thought of, is this result just simply that PSG had Neymar and Mbappe on the field and Bayern didn't have Lewandowski? So Claudio, if I could throw that to you, what do you think of that as a top line in terms of how this result was decided and dictated in the end?
I think you have to give credit to both teams because it was a beautiful display of football from both. First of all, Bayern Munich definitely missed Lewandowski. Obviously, Choupo-Moting did score, but I think in the first leg particularly, they did miss Lewandowski with the chances which were missed in the first leg for Bayern Munich. But then if you look in the second leg, PSG and Neymar also missed their chances as well, which could have been crucial. But obviously they did go through. Mbappe and Neymar have been unreal, to be honest with you, for PSG in the competition. I think I saw earlier they've scored 14 goals in 21, 14 of PSG's 21 goals in the competition this season, which goes to show how important they actually are. And they will be a big factor for PSG going forward in the semi-finals as well. But yeah, I do think Bayern Munich definitely missed. I mean, Lewandowski's contributions itself speaks volumes, doesn't it? How good of a striker he is. He's just, it's like he gets better with age, doesn't he, Lewandowski? So, but yeah, I think it was a great tie of football, and it's just like a sort of great show for the Champions League in general, I think. But I think the difference was Mbappe and Neymar for PSG when you look at the ties overall over the 2 legs.
Jay, what were your initial thoughts?
I think when you take someone like Lewandowski out of a team and his goals that he brings, it's always a major miss. And especially like Claudio said with Mbappe and Neymar, 14 goals out of 21 for PSG in a Champions League run that's incredible, considering Neymar's missed a little chunk of it as well through injury. And also Di Maria is another great player for them. So they've had all their main stars available. And Lewandowski is Bayern Munich, realistically. When it comes to them winning games, getting goals, 9 times out of 10, it's due to Lewandowski, you know. And I don't want to put it all down to that, because at the end of the day, it is a team game, and Bayern Munich have got a lot of stars in their squad, the likes of Kimmich, Alphonso Davies. You know, they're really good players as well. They got Leroy Sané as well, another great player at Manchester City. I just think, you know, when you're missing such a big player, you want other players to step up, and they didn't do that for Bayern Munich. And I think that also comes into play, especially when you look at Alphonso Davies Tuesday night, and he is really dropped in form. I don't know whether that's because of his injury, but that takes its toll. You know, when you haven't got players playing at the best of their game and your best player not in the squad, it catches up with you. And when you're playing a team like PSG, I've got Neymar and Mbappe bang on form, it's always going to be difficult.
Tyler, I know you were fairly hot after the end of this game. What's your opinion on the 180 minutes of football?
Yeah, like the two guys have covered basically all the major talking points as regards to players missing and performances. The one thing I wanted to look at just when I was listening to you break it down was that hunger factor for Bayern. You know, they've dominated world football, to be honest, for the last 2 to 3 seasons. And the old saying goes that it's always harder to defend a title than it is to win it. Obviously, then you have your injuries and things like that. I've also heard that Hansi Flick, the manager, there's an issue there. Apparently, he's on the way out. And I think Nagelsmann at Leipzig is potentially taking over. So, you know, all those little factors definitely come into it. But PSG were just irresistible going forward. It's as simple as that. You know, especially in the second leg, I think Neymar hit the bar in the post in the first half. You know,
he did everything except score, I think, in that, and it was unbelievable at one stage.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So, you know, they have that hunger, having never won the competition. Pochettino's been brought in there, a PSG former player. He's renowned for his player-manager abilities, which seems to be probably the biggest issue that PSG have had over the last number of years, getting over the line. So, you know, when you sit back now, and obviously hindsight's 2020, but when you sit back and analyze the actual breakdown of the two teams, no, we were surprised, but should we have been? Maybe not.
Yeah, that's a really fair point. And I think the hunger point that you make, Kyle, is really, really good in terms of the other side, the other game on that side of the bracket between City and Dortmund. Because, so obviously, City win 4-2 on aggregate after the 2 legs. It's the first time City have got past the quarterfinals in the Champions League as well, which, listen, I'm not a huge soccer guy, I'll be honest, but I would have thought that they had reached that threshold before already, considering their recent history, shall we say. But I think watching this game, like, is it this just the case that Kevin De Bruyne is the best footballer in Europe, Jay? Like, is he? Or is there more to that?
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's the best midfielder in the world. I'll definitely give him that. I think he's an unbelievable player. Best player in Europe? I don't know. I'll still probably have Messi and Ronaldo up there. And obviously you've got Neymar, who's in really good form at the moment as well. Mbappe. Haaland was up there. I won't put him as the best player in Europe, but he was around there. He's been off the boil of late. Harry Kane's another player who's been in unbelievable form. So he's definitely in that bracket, top 5 in the world, definitely for me. But I don't know if I'd say he's the best player in Europe, but I definitely have him as the best midfielder, and by a long shot as well at the moment, because he can do everything.
Claudio, have you anything to add to that, or what were your kind of takeaways from that match?
Yeah, no, I think Jay was spot on in terms of, you know, Kevin De Bruyne being definitely one of the best midfielders. Obviously, you'd have to say Messi and Ronaldo are still the 2 best. And then you've kind of got Mbappe and Haaland, who are sort of underneath those who look like the next 2 are going to sort of compete as the next 2 Ballon d'Ors for the upcoming decade now. Obviously, Neymar as well, who's performed magnificently over this Champions League and also for PSG as well. But what I like about Kevin De Bruyne, especially in the Champions League tides, was He actually sort of, in terms of the position, he was more of sort of a left striker for City. In the European ties, he was sort of, playing as that kind of like false nine, but he was more sort of the left-hand side. He was coming in deep, but he was also sort of threatening as a striker as well. We've seen sort of Kevin De Bruyne in the past playing in that midfield position where he was sort of playing off those strikers such as Aguero. But it looks like Pep's using him slightly different now compared to what he used to, where he might have been on the wing in the past. But it just shows how class Kevin De Bruyne is, to be honest with you. His versatility, his passing ability, just the player. He's an all-round great player, isn't he? And it's actually hurts probably all three of us here, the Chelsea fans, that we let him go so early still, because what a player he could have been for us. But there's no point dwelling on it now. We can still appreciate him being a great footballer, but just unfortunately it's at City. But I think from the game, City deserve big credit for keeping Haaland quiet basically over the two legs. He did set up Marco Reus for that goal. I think it was in the first leg because Bellingham scored last night. But apart from that, they kept Haaland very quiet, and obviously he was a danger man. So they've done a job against him, but they're going to have a bigger job against Neymar and Mbappe now.
Definitely. Kyler, talk to me. Haaland, De Bruyne. What's going on?
There's huge names there, isn't there? Really, like when you actually list them off, it's just, it shows where we're at now in competition. It's big ball. It's big time now. Getting back to your original question on De Bruyne, is he the best player in Europe at the moment? No, but having said that, he's definitely the best player in the Premier League, and he is the heart and soul of City. Let's be honest. He's the captain's armband now, so that role of responsibility is definitely sitting well with him. He impressed me last night, I've got to be honest. Obviously, as Claudio has touched on, it's very, very hurtful. It really is. But at this stage, there's not much that we can do. He's gone. The game last night was just it's a huge stepping stone for City. You actually raised the point, and it actually surprised me also that I actually assumed City had gotten past quarterfinals as well. So, that's a huge coming of age thing for City. It really is. Haaland was quiet. He was quiet. I was watching him. But there's one player that hasn't been mentioned here, and I think the two boys will agree with me. Jude Bellingham. Wow. 17 years of age. And I mean, he was phenomenal. I haven't seen much of him, I'll be very honest. But I assumed he was in like the Hudson-Odoi mold of a winger, that type of player. But he's not. He's a box-to-box midfielder from what I seen. Like, he scored that goal. He cleared one off the line on his own end. And I even watched back the celebrations, and you can see him getting around all these senior big-name players. And he's there, let's go, come on, driving the thing on like a seasoned pro. So there's a lot to take away from that game, but yeah, it's a huge stepping stone on for City, and that semi-final now is going to be mouth-watering.
I suppose there's a reason that Birmingham retired his shirt number A as well on performances like that. So we're kind of in a situation now for semi-final where, in my kind of view, it's like new money and new history plays new money and new history. So Jay, give me a prediction. Semi-final, PSG City over two legs. Who wins and why?
Oh, I'm gonna
easy question.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Saint-Germain. I think. It is. I feel like they done well last season, and they was in the final as well to Bayern Munich. To be fair, and them actually had Lewandowski in the final. Give them that extra bit more because they did badly. So I think they got that better pedigree in Europe. Both teams obviously both still searching for their first Champions League. But I think they'll just have too much going forward. I think Mbappe and Neymar, if they're on their game, it'd be a lot for them to handle. And Manchester City haven't really got that striker. I know Kevin De Bruyne, as we speak on, is an excellent player, but I think they're going to need more than that. obviously Phil Foden's another one who's been amazing for them as well. But I think Paris Saint-Germain will just edge them over the two legs, and I'll probably go with. Where's the first game? Man City home or away?
I believe they're at home.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I reckon I'll go have. That's a tough one. I reckon 1-1 at Manchester, and I reckon PSG will do them 2-0 away from at home. So yeah, 3-1 over the two legs.
Okay, so there's one vote for PSG. Kyler, new money against new money. Talk to me.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's a trick. It's really difficult. One thing I will say, I'm always a big believer in psychology of sports. I watched back the highlights of the PSG game last Tuesday night, and I noticed that afterwards they had a camera in the dressing room, and the PSG players were jumping up on the tables in the dressing room, jumping around, celebrating as if they'd won the competition. And I was just like, that's a strange reaction.
Yeah.
I know it's a big moment for them, but you've not won anything. So it's just like it's a big factor. But like, I just think City just looks so organized at the back. They've figured out that balance. PSG, to me, especially thinking under Pochettino what Tottenham were like, it's full court press. They can be got at. Like a Lewandowski less, Bayern still scored 3 times against them. So
come on, on the spot. Come on, give me a scoreline.
I'm gonna go with City. I'm gonna go with City to scrape through. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with City to scrape through.
Okay, so the one either side. Claudio, you're the decider.
PSG.
Oh, see that? See, this is the thing, guys. You're there and you're going left and you're going right, straight up. Claudio, boom, PSG. Yeah. Why PSG, Claudio? Why?
First of all, I do think City will have more of the ball possession. I think they'll probably control the game over the two ties, but I just think they've got Marquinhos returning. I think they've got Verratti returning as well, which are two big players. And then Mbappe and Neymar, both world class, and City have world class players. But I think also, like Kyle said, it's like sort of in their heads as well. They lost in the final last season. I think their determination and mentality. I know obviously it's a semi-final, so you don't need any more to sort of get you more up for the game. But I just think PSG will be more determined more than ever to win the Champions League this season after losing in the final the season before. Probably why they celebrated as much as they did, because they beat the favourites Bayern. So, yeah, I do think it is going to be a very tough game. I really do think it's going to be some good football and show again. But I think PSG will edge it for me just purely because of the Neymar and Mbappe factor. But remember as well, Pochettino beat Pep in the semi-finals for Spurs, didn't he? So he could have that slight edge on him as well. So mind games.
Yeah. That's fair enough. So we've got the left-hand side of the bracket, as I'm calling it, sorted now. So let's go over to the right-hand side bracket. But we're still going to hold on Chelsea. We're going to save them till last. All right.
Best to last.
A team till last. So Real take out Liverpool 3-1 over 2 legs, and they were relatively comfortable in the second leg. I thought Liverpool kind of huffed and puffed, but didn't quite blow the house down. But it dawned on me then kind of at the end of that game, and Kyle, I'd be really, really interested to know what you think of this. Is this version of this Liverpool team kind of finally turning and coming to an end? And has this whole last 3 or 4 years of playing this high-octane, attacking, pressing football, is it finally catching up with them? Kyler?
Okay. I was just, when you were speaking there, I was just thinking through the scenario in my head, and again, and you go back to, as I said, with Bayern, you dominate. But I just think, they've had some unbelievable injuries, to be fair. They really have. They've literally had their best player in Virgil van Dijk ripped away from for the whole season. That's a massive, massive loss. Like, any team in Europe, you take out their best player, they're really, really going to struggle. There's not many that are going to be able to build and continue to drive on without that leader phenomenal defender. So yeah, it's. I'm not so sure it's the end of their run. I have to be honest. I think they will come again next season, but Madrid just did the business in the first leg, and were very, very professional and pragmatic in the second leg. Very un-Madrid-like, actually, considering the players in their team. So that they were very impressive. I have to say, it was more of a case that Madrid just did a job on Liverpool, I think.
That's fair enough. Jay, what were your thoughts over the 180 minutes?
To be fair, I thought Real Madrid were worthy winners. I thought maybe last night Salah had his shooting boots on and actually wanted to turn up. He might have got himself a couple of goals, but he was hiding away. I felt like Real Madrid went into that game. And I think they did a bit like how we did in our second leg. They knew what they needed to do. They didn't have to take risks. They just, all their players done the right jobs. Casemiro, Varane, Nacho, not Varane, sorry, Milito, sorry, not Varane, and Nacho as well, and Valverde done some excellent defensive work, some great blocks. And obviously in the first leg, they was the much better team. So I thought that was worthy winners. And to be fair, when you talk about Liverpool and are they starting to come to an end, I don't really think they got started, to be honest.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
No, it's for me, it's just, when you look at the greatest sides, when you look at teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man U, Chelsea that have dominated over like 5 to 6 years minimums. Liverpool have literally done it for 2 seasons, 2 trophies, literally a Premier League and a Champions League. That is not enough for me to put yourself down in the bracket of some of the greats. And fair play to them, they done really well in those 2 seasons, and they was unlucky finishing second to Manchester City the season before last. But yeah, I think it's an excuse. Saying about players like for them getting run out and being overused, and I just it don't really wash with me, to be honest. When you look back at some of the greatest teams, like when Chelsea gone dominant, that's like Lampard, John Terry, and like in a space I don't even know. If you look at their appearances over a certain amount of seasons, and they were winning stuff in back-to-back seasons, and they done it over like decades. These greatest teams done it over bigger durations. Me, it's I don't know. I'm not really a fan of Liverpool anyway, as you can tell. Me,
you'd never tell.
That's some real deep insight there, Jay. You're not holding back there at all. But Claudio, is there anything else that you'd like to add to that, or have you a different angle perhaps on what happened between Real and Liverpool?
Well, from the first leg, I didn't watch the second leg. I watched the highlights, and obviously I did see Liverpool had their chances. Mo Salah, in the first few minutes, he missed a big chance for them. But like the guys mentioned, Madrid done a professional job. They were clinical in the first leg. I felt like they exploited Liverpool's weaknesses. In the first leg in particular, I kept noticing they were going out to the right side, attacking at Trent. And Vinicius was having a field day against him in the first leg. So I felt like Madrid sort of had their game plan from the very off, and it worked well. I think Madrid have come into form at a perfect time, because they were kind of actually written off, weirdly enough, before the Liverpool game. A lot of people thought Liverpool would not breeze through, but a lot of people were confident Liverpool were going to win. And then Madrid's experience and the determination, just how they played, was outstanding, to be honest with you. And they are going to be one of the favourites to win again, purely because of the class they have in their team still, and the experience of winning, which counts for everything, because they have a lot of winners in their team. So they can't be taken lightly.
Definitely World Cup winners, former Champions League winners, La Liga winners, inside out, and Toni Kroos has won leagues. Like there's just, the list goes on and on and on. But I think they still have to play Chelsea now, and this is where I'm going to just take a little bit of a step back. And Kyler, you may please take the wheel of the car and talk to us through Chelsea's 2-1 win over Porto and dictate this conversation.
Yeah, this is where the show really starts, to be honest. No, like, let's be fair. We've covered the other 3 quarterfinals. There was a lot of good football played. A lot of attacking flair style football. We've really rebuilt since Thomas Tuchel has come in and taken over. And as I've spoken to the lads before, I've said that he's really built from the back outwards. And that's basically what we've seen over these 2 legs. Like, the tie was really decided in the first leg. You know, we defended very, very well, took our chances clinically, which we've been a little bit guilty of not doing, if we're honest, over the last number of weeks and so. But no, it was a very, very professional job. Jay, I'm going to come to you first. What were your main takeaways?
Obviously, I was really pleased with the 2 results. I know we lost 1-0 the other night, but I thought, from what I watched of it, because if I'm being deadly honest, I only watched the first 45 minutes. The rest of the night was a blur. And from what I could see, it was just a really good performance from the lads, away from a wonder goal in the last minute of added on time. Like, we went there, we done what we needed to do. I say we went there, we were still the home team. It's hard to get used to that. But yeah, we done that job, you know. And from what I've gathered in the second leg, we was in control, and they turned up. They looked like they just wanted to foul, stop the play. Every time we was trying to counter and get into dangerous positions, they would just take out Pulisic, who got taken down 11 times, the most in the Champions League since Lionel Messi in 2013, I think it was. So, yeah, away from that, and the first leg, obviously the first leg, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, I'm just really happy in general, you know. I feel like we look really solid. The players look up for it. Scott playing the way he wants to play. And I feel like we're only going to get better, and I'm really looking forward to the next round against Real Madrid.
Yeah, no, that's you've covered a lot of the main talking points. Really, I think the fouls statistic was just ridiculous. You know, I think Porto got absolutely what they deserved. But Claudio, who for you over the 2 legs for Chelsea stood out?
Over the 2 legs. In the first leg, I'd say it was more of a team performance, I'd say, in the first leg. And like you mentioned, we was clinical, to be honest with you, which we really haven't been this season. That's cost us a few points. In the second leg, it was definitely between Jorginho and Pulisic. Pulisic, it was sort of reminding of Hazard-esque, wasn't it? The way he was drawing in fouls, the way he was sort of dribbling past players, and that spark which we needed from Pulisic looks like it's actually coming again, which is at the perfect time. But Jorginho actually had a really good game, because I was slightly worried about our midfield, because Kante obviously came in sort of last minute due to Kovacic's injury. You could sort of tell from the first 10-15 minutes Kante was a bit rusty. You know, Kante is going to give you 100%. He will run for 90 minutes, but you could just sort of tell he was slightly rusty a little bit from the injury. But I thought Jorginho was magnificent, to be honest with you. His recoveries, his defensive work, which, you know, at times he does get exploited, where, you know, we've seen clips of him easily get run past, but he done a real professional job for me, and he's come under a lot of criticism. But he's stood up, and he stood up and been counted, which was so needed. It was just a professional performance. And yeah, I can't believe we're in the semi-finals. Like, after the season we've had, to think we're in the semi-finals of the FA Cup and Champions League and fighting for top 4, it's unbelievable. So long may this continue.
Yeah, absolutely. It's peak Chelsea, isn't it? Like, when everything seems to be just going down the toilet, we just all of a sudden produce when it counts. I suppose, Keith, you're the neutral of the group here.
Trying to be.
Yeah. You've heard our takes. Was there anything to you from the outside looking in that caught your eye?
I think the Porto really offered nothing in the second leg completely, and it was going to be a Chelsea mistake that got them back into it. So as long as they kept absorbing what Porto was throwing, which wasn't a lot, because there was a stat there, I believe the ball was only in play for like 17 minutes or something, with all the fouls and the stop starting. So like, I don't know, if I'm a team 2-0 down, I want to keep the ball in play, I want to keep moving. So this is a bit of an old kind of look back, but is there kind of shades of Di Matteo taking over halfway through the season again, potentially? Or am I getting you a little bit too excited, I wonder?
Yeah.
There's definitely shades of it. You know, there's a lot of things that are written in the stars, as Gary Neville would say. I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves just yet, but it's looking very good. Look, we're there now. I think the odds are we're 3-1 to win it. So look, you're in the last four of any competition. You're definitely in with a chance of winning. But so I suppose that was the quarterfinal. So we're moving on now to the next stage, semi-finals. We've covered the other side of the bracket, Keith, as you've called it. So we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive. Jay, I'm going to come to you first. You know where I'm going with this. Your boy, Mr. Eden Hazard. I just sent you a link earlier. It looks like he's going to be fit and available. What are your thoughts?
First of all, I'm absolutely gutted that I can't be at Stamford Bridge and welcome him home. I would have loved to have done that. Obviously, when it comes down to it, over 90 minutes in the first leg and then 90 minutes second leg overall, I hope he has an absolute shocker.
Yes.
But I'd like to if I'm not happy. You know, like when he left Chelsea, he said he wants to come back and he'd love to play us in the Champions League every year. Well, he's got his wish this year. He's coming back home, unfortunately, without fans. Which I'm a bit gutted about, but at the same time, it'd be nice, you know. It'd be nice to see him back. He looks like he's going to be fit as well. Hopefully not fit, you know.
Yeah.
I'd like to if I'm not nervous about him, because for me, he's our greatest ever player in terms of ability. He's my favourite ever player. And I know what he can do to teams, you know, on his day. So he could easily turn up and cause us a lot of aggro. So fingers crossed, he don't turn up. I can see him happy. Send him back to Madrid. Send him packing, and I can still have my smile on my face. And we can keep the love story going. And hopefully, he don't score a winner against us, because I'll be gutted.
Yeah. No, you're spot on there. Like, Claudio, what are your thoughts?
On Eden returning, it's nice. It's nice to obviously welcome him back home, like Jay said. And it is a shame that there isn't any fans there to welcome him, because I'm sure he would have enjoyed it just as much as we would as well. But as soon as the ball's kicked, like Jay said as well, it really is Eden's nothing to me for 90 minutes for both legs. That all goes out the window. Sentiment goes out the window. And if he does start, obviously, I hope he has an absolute shocker as well, just because it goes without saying. But I think the tie itself is obviously, it's a great tie, because we've never played Real Madrid in the Champions League before, which is amazing to think, you know, the teams with the history we've both got in the Champions League. Obviously, I think the last time we played them was in the Super Cup, wasn't it? So, we won that time as well, didn't we? So, it's going to be a great two legs. I think Madrid, I'd assume they'll have sort of more of the possession than us. I've got a feeling we're sort of going to make it difficult for them. We're going to be solid at the back. Kante is going to be as important as ever against that midfield three, because their midfield three does worry me a lot, just the experience and class they have. And Benzema has been another level this season as well. He's gone under the radar throughout his whole Madrid career, I think, probably because of the Galacticos they have. But I do back us to go all the way, because why not this season? Like, this season has thrown up so many shots, and Thomas Tuchel is a mastermind. He's shown since he's come here what an amazing job he's done. So I fully back us to go all the way and lift the trophy in Istanbul.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you both said there on Hazard and on Madrid. Again, Keith, I'm going to come back to you. I suppose we're obviously our heads are in the clouds. We're hoping for the best. Was there anything that you, I suppose, had to add to what the boys have said?
I have Real as favourites, and it's not just because of history. I think that they have a solider team. I think Courtois is better than Mendy. I think their midfield three is better than your midfield three. I think you guys have the edge on kind of like the wings and the 10, but I think Benzema's a better front man than any of your options at the moment. But ultimately, like, it's knockout football. It's going to be dicey. It's not going to be free-flowing stuff, I don't believe. Like, it's going to be the odd goal in 3 that's going to decide this, but I think Real should come out on top. Whether they do or not is another thing, but please don't lynch me for my opinion.
It's okay. You're a Newcastle fan. It's okay. We'll forgive you.
We all have our crosses to bear. When we were in the Champions League last, Hugo Viana was scoring goals.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's a throwback. No, I think most of the points you've raised are pretty fair. Courtois is a proven European performer, and he's done with us as well. The one thing on Claude, I'm going to come to you first on this. The other semi-final with PSG and City is, Galacticos, all out, all-star football type of a thing.
Yeah.
For me, I think that Madrid and ourselves are probably the two best well-rounded sides, as in we can be pragmatic when we need to. We can play football when we need to as well. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with that? Do you think I'm outlandish there?
I think, Madrid, like I said, with their midfield three, they can play ball. They can keep the ball. They'll be good in possession. But also, if they want to sort of switch it up and play counter-attacking football, they've got pace with Vinicius. They've got Asensio as well. They can play sort of, different sort of football. But I think they'll come in with a plan. I think they will think, they're the better team and they can sort of attack against us. But I think that'll work in our favour personally. And we'll sort of, hold the pressure and we can kill them on a counter-attack. That's what I personally think how we could go. A bit like the Porto game in the quarterfinals where we were sort of clinical with 2 counter-attacks, wasn't it, really? Obviously, the Ben Chilwell one was amazing. But I don't know. I just get the feeling, I don't know if it's just me, but that teams, I know Zidane's mentioned that Chelsea are a great team and they'll know how well we've done under Tuchel. I get the feeling that Madrid might think, we're the favourites going into this. They won't underestimate us because obviously it's a Champions League semi-final, but I think we may shock them. I don't know. It might just be because we're on a massive high at the moment with everything which is going on. But I do think our players will turn up when it matters, personally, and we'll sort of, I think we'll get them on a counter. That's what I think how we'll go anyways.
No, that's a really good break, Eve. But, Jay, I want to ask you as well, we played a tough couple of legs against Porto. Our fixture list at the moment is jammed, let's be honest. Do you see fatigue or squad rotation? Do you see that being a factor for us?
Obviously, we've got massive games coming up, and I think we need to go through on all fronts. So I don't think there's any game really we should overlook. I do think that Tuchel will be smart in how he operates and how he plays, and in terms of players and who he deploys, I think he will be smart with the players and he'll rest players when needed. And it all boils down to whether the players who do get picked and get given a chance in games where maybe it feels like rotating, it's down to them to step up because they're players of really good class. And even like when we lost to West Brom, we made a lot of changes. That team there should still beat West Brom, and it was down to those players because they didn't step up. and they went out there and they thought they could have a walk in the park, like they was in the park with their mates, and they got out. But we just put to the sword, and we can't do that. And I think maybe that result come at a good time, because Tuchel will know now, and the players will know there's no games to take for granted. So even when we're playing the likes of Fulham and Brighton, no disrespect for them, but the lower teams, I think we'll take these games more serious now. But whether it affect us, I don't know. I think we'll be good, and I think Real Madrid will be in for a shock. Personally, I think they'll be in for a shock, because me personally, I think we'll go there and we'll dominate possession. I kind of disagree with Claudio. I think we'll go there and we will dictate the game. I don't think we'll let them come at us and try and dictate play. I think we'll go there and look to boss them exactly the same way we did to Atletico Madrid. And watching them over 2 weeks, I'm not really nervous about them, to be fair. I think we get at them. If we turn up how we have done in our big games this season, the likes of Liverpool, Atletico Madrid over 2 legs, and we play like that, I think we can beat them and get ourselves in the final. And I want to book tickets to Istanbul if I didn't believe it.
Yeah, like I'm actually genuinely excited that we're playing Madrid, because we've never really faced them. They are the European giant, and like as I said in the group chat during the week to the lads, we're in absolute bonus territory now. We really are, and it's just exciting to be looking forward to watching our team play as much as anything. Like Tuchel has shown that he can really manage the squad very, very well. The reason I kind of brought that up was I just thought it was slightly strange that in a tough away game in a warm night in Spain, he left it very late to make changes. Some of the guys like Kante was a slight doubt before the game and played in 90 minutes. Thiago Silva the same, but yeah, there's definitely a chance for rotation for us, and yeah, absolutely, Jay, as you say as well, it's about hunger now, and guys that are not getting games have got to fight for that shirt and really show that this is what we want. We want to be winning trophies, learning and playing on the biggest stage. But I suppose the other issue as well, or other point that I noted was Alexander-Arnold. He got a lot of joy against Madrid, particularly in the second leg. And of course, the huge debate over the last number of weeks has been Alexander-Arnold versus Reece James. Claudio, we spoke about this earlier today. What's your thoughts? Do you think that we can use Reece, or do you see maybe a Hudson-Odoi coming in there?
Well, I think first of all, I think it was the first Atletico tie. He actually started with Callum Hudson-Odoi, didn't he, against Atletico, which actually surprised us all. So he could do that again against Madrid, as you mentioned, due to Trent's success in the second leg. Personally, I think Reece James is so well-rounded. He can deliver going forward, but as a defensive job, how solid he can be as well. In terms of the argument between Reece James and Trent, it's got to be Reece James. Liverpool fans will always disagree because of what Trent's won, but give it a season or two and then they will understand that Reece James is the better player. I actually don't think Trent's a bad player. I know, he does get his critics, and he does get sort of, after a bad performance, a lot of people do come at him. I think because he's done well at such a young age, Trent has won a lot of things and he's shown how good he can be for Liverpool. But at the same time, I think teams know to exploit Trent's weaknesses, like Real Madrid did in the first leg. Whereas, when you look at Reece James as a right back, as a left winger, you wouldn't want to be attacking Reece James purely because you're going to have a rough day against him. But yeah, I think overall that could be something to look at. I think obviously, like we said, Kante will be ever so important, whether he partners with Kovacic or Jorginho in the middle. I don't mind either, to be honest, as long as Kante's starting with one of those. I think Jorginho's had he stepped up in big games, Liverpool, Atletico, again against Porto, so I don't mind. But again, it's a front three, have to deliver and be clinical like we need them to be again. If we're going to get through to the final.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay, have you any thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, I agree with Claudio to start it. Reece is the better all-rounded right back than Trent. You don't have a right back in your team to brag about him getting assists. As a defender, your main priority and your as a defender, you're meant to defend first and foremost. That's what you're meant to do. But yeah, in terms of Real Madrid and watching Liverpool last night, sorry. They was open a lot and they gave off a lot of chances, Real Madrid to Liverpool. And on the day, Liverpool probably couldn't through last night. And I do feel like playing Reece, I think Claudio said it, with Hudson-Odoi playing the first leg against Atletico, I do think that's a great option. I would probably start Hudson-Odoi against them for the first game. Just because I feel like there'll be a lot of space in behind to get at them. And I think Marcelo or Mendy, whoever plays, probably Mendy, who's obviously Edouard's cousin as well, which is a bit mental.
Yeah.
I do feel like he's not the greatest offensively. And if we've got Mason on that right-hand side with Havertz, who would probably start as the false nine in between the pockets, and then Hudson-Odoi doubling up with Mendy and Mount, I think that will cause a lot of problems for them. And it also covers us on the left-hand side with Vinicius coming down there, because I thought he looked really good over two legs. Probably Real Madrid's probably most likely player to score. But obviously, Azpilicueta will then fill in to right back once Hudson-Odoi gets forward, and we'll go to like a back four, which I think is really good when you play Aspi in the back three. So yeah, I think they can get at, and that's why I want us to control the game, and I want us to not sit back and let them come at us and try and counter. I think we can go there and dominate the possession and be the better team. I don't think this is the greatest Real Madrid side in the last decade. It's probably one of their poorest sides, especially if you look in the league at the moment. So yeah, I'm confident. But yeah, I'd probably start Reece in the second leg. Go to the Bernabeu, get a nice 1-0, 2-0, hopefully, like we did against Porto, and then go back to the bridge, and then I'd put Reece back in, and he'd be more defensively sound, and it'd be more balanced, and then we can kind of sit back a bit like how Real Madrid done last night at Anfield.
Yeah, no, those are really, really good points. Yeah, it's a huge advantage to us as well that the first leg is away. We've already experienced that, and benefited and gone through. You actually, Jay, you briefly mentioned Mason, and I know we've spoken on Kante and Jorginho, but that midfield three of Madrid's Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro are excellent. But there's one thing I suppose us three guys like Jay and Claudio and myself, we love Mason Mount, and I actually really want to see him in that engine room. I think his leadership and his energy and his press against those three are going to be absolutely crucial. But I suppose, Keith, coming to you, weirdly enough, there seems to be that a section of Chelsea fans that don't rate Mason Mount. Obviously, the people that really know football know that this boy is a superstar.
Are we saying that those people are all on screen at the moment? Is that what we're saying, Kyle? Is it?
These gentlemen know. These gentlemen know.
Okay.
But no, the reason I'm coming to you as, again, a neutral, you've obviously watched bits and pieces of football, and you've got a brain that can make sense of football.
Come on, spit it out. What do you want to know? What
is your opinion of Mason Mount? From the outside in, without the blinkers on, what's your opinion?
I wouldn't have him starting for Chelsea.
Mason Mount?
Oh my God. Personally, I wouldn't.
You're joking.
I'm not joking. I really don't think I think he's a good impact player. I think that he's a guy that could tear through teams when kind of like from the last half hour onwards. But I don't think he's that good. So you can class me as the person who doesn't know anything about football. How about that?
Are you sure you're talking about the same player? Because it sounds like you're talking about Timo Werner.
No, listen, he's really, really talented, but I think when it comes to the crunch, I don't think he's up to it, and I wouldn't have him starting in a second leg of a Champions League semi-final if you have to chase the game as well.
Wow.
Now, there you go.
Wow.
Shots fired from this end now.
That's wow, boys. Claude, anything at all?
Apart from him being our best player this season, there's nothing else to add.
Yeah. Jay, do I even need to come to you?
I'd just like to say, I think it's difficult when you watch John Joe Cookie week in, week out. I understand your but when it comes to the crunch, I don't know if you watched the game, Pete. But Chelsea versus Liverpool, Mason scored the winning goal, was the best player on the pitch, come down to the crunch, won us 3 points. Was excellent in the first leg against Porto, was probably the best player on the pitch, got our opening goal, come down to the crunch again. Don't mean to get at you there, bro, but
no, again, you're only defending your guy.
He was on the money. He's done it countless times this season when we needed him the most. I think if anyone, when it comes down to the crunch, I'd want playing, it would be Mason Mount. But I do get your maybe in the second leg if it was in terms of we need to see out the game. Then I could get your point, because me personally, I was actually going to say is that against that midfield three, I think if we can get a nice result at the Bernabeu and in that Stamford Bridge, I wouldn't mind Mason coming at the team for maybe the first for the second leg, with playing the midfield of a 3 and changing it and having Jorginho, Kovacic and Kante and having them 3 against Real Madrid's 3, because I think if you look at the style of Cruz, it's very similar to Jorginho. If you look at Modric, very similar to Kovacic, and then if you look at Casemiro, very similar to Kante, that'd be a midfield battle. So that's when maybe I'd think about not playing Mace, but then even then, you take him out the team and the team don't look the same because he wears his heart on the badge, and you're always going to get 100% from him, and he plays Chelsea and he'll do everything in his possible to make sure that we go through to the final. So I think maybe as you're not a Chelsea fan, maybe you haven't watched every game for 90 minutes, so I can understand. But no, I'm not. This is not a dig either. I'm just trying to understand. Completely. I think if you sat there and watched Mason Mount a lot more, your thoughts might change a little bit, because I think a lot of people's have, and that's no disrespect either, because there's a lot of fans out there that I know of at the beginning of the season, especially, were like, I don't really get Mason. I don't know about Mason. I don't really get the hype. I think Lampard is just overplaying him. But Tuchel's come in, and again, he's probably Tuchel's first name on the team sheet, And even for England as well, along with Harry Kane, them 2 names there are probably the first names in the team sheet in the Euros. So I think he will prove a lot of people not wrong, but he'll even show a lot more people his worth, and I think he's done that throughout the season.
Yeah. No, to be fair, I think you've actually raised a very good point that, there is a section of people out there that probably don't watch him week in, week out, and it's the popular thing to do, or the niche thing to do is to be anti Mason Mount. I think that probably this idea that he was Frank Lampard's son and all this just baloney online, and it just grew legs from there. But if you watch the guy week in, week out for 90 minutes, he is the heart and soul of this club. He's a regular under Lampard, Tuchel, Southgate, so all those guys literally can't be wrong. But no, it's very interesting to get an outside view and a bit of a controversial view.
That's what you get on the opening pair. You get real views, you get real reactions. That's what we bring to the people.
Exactly. That's it. Though. Yeah, football is at the end of the day, football is a game of opinions, and we love the debate. We love that bit of a back and forth, as we've said before. But I suppose we've really deep dived into both sides, and it's now come to that prediction time. Oh, okay. Claudio, you're having a bit of a giggle there. I'm going to come to you first.
Well, for the semi-finals?
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm going to back us to win. It's going to be 2 tight legs. I think we're going to go to the Bernabeu. It's going to be 1-1. Then I think we're going to take it back to Stamford Bridge and win 2-0.
Ooh, yes. Yes, please. Jay?
Yeah, Chelsea straight through to the final, no goals conceded, 3-0 on aggregate.
I love that. Yeah, I love the confidence. I'm struggling. Obviously, I'm going to back us to win. There's no shock there. But I honestly see this being, if we do get through, our toughest game. I think if we get to a final against either PSG or City, we beat them. And that's not trying to be hyperbole or anything like that, or just trying to big up us. I genuinely just feel that the experience we have, the manager that we have, PSG and City have both had issues in the past of the pressure got to them and they just couldn't get over the line. Madrid, as we've spoken, have all those Champions League winners, World Cup winners, that experience. And I see it being an absolute battle. I really do. I see us scraping through. I do. I think 2-1 on aggregate. I think the first leg is going to be a 0-0 Thomas Tuchel special, and we get them back to the bridge, and we get the business done there. So yeah, Keith, you've already given your prediction. I don't know if you've anything else to add before we wrap up this conversation here.
No, I think this has been an unbelievable conversation. It's great to get guys like Jae and Claudio on, like real true diehard supporters of their club who are really knowledgeable in the sport. As we spoke at the start of the show, they are 2 contributors on the Blue Wave Chelsea fan channel on the Never a Foul podcast. Jae, do you want to take a minute and just explain and tell the people who don't know what exactly the Blue Wave is and where you can find it?
You can find us on YouTube, our Foul channel, and it's got different segments, and we come under the Chelsea channel at the Blue Wave, and we do post-match, pre-match episodes. We do episodes, the ones after the game midweek, probably one of the best ones of late anyway. And we also will be doing joint ones with other channels. I've got one coming out tomorrow with a couple of Manchester City guys for the preview of the Manchester City-Chelsea game in the FA Cup on Saturday. So that'll be available. You can catch me on Twitter at CFCJ_, and I always post the episodes on there. And yeah, just if you want to come along, I'll have the live episodes up, and get involved in the comments. We always do episodes, and yeah, YouTube where you can find us. And obviously, a pleasure to you for having us on today.
No, it's been fantastic having you guys on. All the links will be in the description of the video before. I've jumped into the chat with you guys a couple of times. It's been a really, really good conversation, and it feels almost like we could just literally transfer this over onto your guys' channel and just keep the conversation going. But we can't, unfortunately, go all night. But really, we could. But really, really do appreciate, guys, you coming on, taking time out of your diaries to join us here on the opening pair, and hopefully when you guys make the final, we can have you back on again for another recap show. It'll be really, really good. But thanks so much again for coming 100%. On, Jae and Claudio from the Blue Wave channel. Thanks, guys. Kyler, that was a super-sized episode and a half without question. Really, really, as I said before, it's really great having true diehard fans such as yourself, such as Claudio, such as Jae on, talking about the sport that you guys love. Obviously, threw in a few controversial comments there myself. But listen, when you're a Newcastle fan, you're always going to hate. What can you say? But see us out there for us, and tell us where everybody can find us.
Yeah, as you say, fantastic chat. Really, really enjoyed that. A good hour's chat. It flew past, covered a lot of topics, and a little bit of controversy, which is no harm in that at all. But no, you'll find myself on Twitter at KyleGavin23. Keith, you're at Keith Kilduff Media. Please, as you say, like, subscribe, share, comment the Opening Pair podcast on YouTube. And cheers. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we see you soon again.
Guys, see you in the next episode. Take care. Thank you.